For a long time, one belief has stayed firmly rooted in the minds of immigrants living in the United States. Once you receive a green card, your future is secure. You work, you pay taxes, you build a life, and in return, permanent residency protects you from deportation. But today, that sense of certainty is no longer as solid as it once was. Across immigrant communities, especially among legal permanent residents, anxiety is growing. Not because of rumors alone, but because of real statements, real enforcement actions, and real policy discussions happening at the highest levels of government. Green card holders, people who followed the legal process, are now finding themselves under increased scrutiny, and in some cases, facing the possibility of removal from the country they call home. This shift did not happen overnight. It is the result of a broader change in how immigration enforcement is being discussed and applied. The language coming from Washington has become sharper. The interpretation of existing immigration laws has become stricter. And the message being sent is clear: permanent residency is no longer being treated as untouchable. Recent confirmations from senior government officials, including Vice President J.D. Vance, have added fuel to these concerns. Discussions are actively taking place around deporting green card holders under specific circumstances. While deportation of lawful permanent residents has always existed in the law, the difference now lies in how aggressively those laws may be enforced and how broadly they could be interpreted. To understand what is happening, it's important to look beyond headlines and focus on how immigration enforcement actually works. Agencies like USCIS, IC, and CBP are playing a much larger role in reviewing cases that were once considered settled. Files are being reopened. Travel histories are being examined. Past records that might have been overlooked years ago are now being reviewed with fresh eyes. This does not mean that every green card holder is suddenly at risk. But it does mean that the margin for error has become smaller. One major area of concern involves criminal history. Under U.S. immigration law, certain criminal convictions, particularly those categorized as aggravated felonies, fraud-related offenses, or serious violent crimes, have always been grounds for deportation. What has changed is the renewed emphasis on identifying and acting on these cases, even if the conviction happened many years ago. Another key issue is long-term absence from the United States. Green card holders are expected to maintain the U.S. as their primary residence. Extended stays abroad without proper documentation, such as a re-entry permit, can raise questions about whether residency has been abandoned. In the current enforcement climate, these cases may receive far less leniency than in the past. Financial self-sufficiency has also returned to the conversation. While public charge rules have shifted over time, there is growing political discussion around whether long-term dependency on government assistance could once again be used against permanent residents. Even when such policies are not fully implemented, the uncertainty alone creates fear. National security considerations represent the most serious and controversial category. The administration has signaled that individuals believed to pose security or foreign policy concerns may face expedited action. This is where recent high-profile cases have drawn international attention. One such case involves Mahmoud Khalil, a legal permanent resident and former student at Columbia University. His arrest and potential deportation sparked intense debate, not just because of the individual involved, but because of what the case represents. Khalil, a Palestinian activist associated with Gaza solidarity protests, was taken into custody by ICE after being accused of activities allegedly linked to Hamas, a group designated as a terrorist organization by the U.S. government. What made this case particularly alarming for green card holders is that Khalil was not on a temporary visa. He held lawful permanent resident status. Initially, authorities reportedly attempted to treat the case as a visa revocation. When that was no longer possible, the focus shifted toward revoking his green card itself. This move raised serious questions among immigration attorneys and civil rights advocates. Under the Immigration and Nationality Act, the government does have authority to remove non-citizens if their presence is deemed to have serious adverse implications for U.S. foreign policy. However, using this provision against green card holders based on political activity introduces a new level of uncertainty. Supporters of the administration argue that this is about national security, not free speech. Vice President J.D. Vance has publicly defended the approach, stating that the government will no longer offer protection to individuals who, in its view, advocate against American interests or support extremist ideologies. Secretary of State Marco Rubio echoed this position, emphasizing that visas and green cards can be revoked when national security is at stake. President Trump has also weighed in directly, stating that support for terrorism is incompatible with U.S. national and foreign policy, regardless of immigration status. These statements collectively reflect a significant shift in enforcement philosophy, one where political ideology, associations, and perceived threats are being evaluated more aggressively. What concerns many legal experts is not just this single case, but what may come next. Reports suggest that additional individuals have already been flagged for review, including other legal permanent residents. A senior Department of Homeland Security official confirmed that the list of reviewed cases could expand. Civil rights organizations warn that this approach could open the door to broader interpretations of security risk. Today it may focus on terrorism-related allegations, but tomorrow it could extend to political dissidents, activists, or individuals involved in controversial movements. Immigration law, unlike criminal law, operates under a different standard, one where constitutional protections are more limited for non-citizens. This is an uncomfortable reality for many green card holders to confront. Permanent residency offers strong protections, but it is not the same as citizenship. Certain rights remain conditional, and the government retains authority that can be exercised during times of heightened enforcement. Still, it is important to remain grounded in facts rather than fear. Deportation of green card holders is not automatic. Each case involves legal procedures, evidence, and often lengthy court battles. Many individuals ultimately succeed in defending their status. But preparation and awareness are now more important than ever. Green card holders should be mindful of international travel, especially if they have complex histories. Consulting an immigration attorney before extended trips can prevent serious problems at the border. Reviewing past records, including old convictions or immigration filings, can help identify potential risks early. Most importantly, staying informed is a form of protection. Immigration policy does not change quietly. It evolves through statements, enforcement trends, and legal challenges. Understanding those signals allows immigrants to make better decisions for themselves and their families. The message from Washington is not that all green card holders are in danger. The message is that permanent residency is being re-examined through a stricter lens. And while that may feel unsettling, knowledge remains the strongest defense. Here at US Visa Tracker, our goal is not to spread panic, but to provide clarity. Immigration law is complex, and headlines often oversimplify what is actually happening. We break down policy changes, explain real risks, and help you understand where you stand. As the situation continues to develop, we will keep monitoring updates related to green cards, deportation policies, visas, and broader U.S. immigration changes. Whether it's family-based immigration, employment visas, or permanent residency concerns, staying informed can make all the difference. Thank you for watching, and we'll continue to bring you accurate, timely immigration updates in our upcoming videos.